KEET TV presents Homework Hotline, the after-school show that fuses learning with fun. Watch local teachers bring the classroom on air and online. This is Homework Hotline.
Welcome to Homework Hotline. My name's Pam Halstead, and I taught science at Fortuna High School.
And my name is Rita McConnaughy, and I am a math specialist with Northern United Humboldt Charter School. And you're watching Homework Hotline.
Yay.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. We have an awesome show today. I'm really excited about it, Rita.
Awesome, me too.
Yes.
It'll be a little out of my element because we'll talk about some science, biology related issues, but we'll look at the numbers, and so that's where I get to come in with.
We always have each other's backs, so if some math I don't get, then Rita can help out and vice versa. So that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think you have a quick update from our show on Tuesday. There was this website we wanted to share.
Yes.
About exploring the outdoors. On Tuesday, we talked about ecosystems and our local ecosystem, and so getting outdoors. And then there is this great park trail link and website that you can go to. Yes,
it's associated with PBS Kids, and so if you go onto it, then it can help you find parks and trails all around this area, which would be very cool to discover and use. So do it, please.
Awesome. And after today's show, you may even see some more resources, or more reasons to get out and explore and go on the trails.
Yes.
Okay, today's homework hotline.
You can also use this and go forward and back.
Okay, cool. Today's homework hotline is about something called animal gestation periods. Okay, so let me go over. First of all, what do you notice happens in the spring? Pam?
Well, I noticed that there's flowers. Flowers grow, the trees get leaves, but you have a lot of pictures of animals there. And as far as animals go, I think a lot of baby animals we start to see.
Yeah, and so that doesn't, why do baby animals show up in the spring? What's going on?
I don't know. For some reason, I think maybe in the spring there's a lot more, the food is better, the temperatures are better, and so if you had your baby in the winter, it might be too cold, there might not be enough resources for the baby to survive. So it might be that spring is just a plain old good time. More light.
So timing is important, especially when you're raising animals. And so we're going to look at something called the gestation period. And that is the fetal development period from the time of conception until birth. Gestation is the carrying of an embryo or fetus inside the female's womb. So basically, it's how long the baby is inside the mother.
So what's the difference between an embryo and a fetus?
Oh boy, don't ask me that.
Okay, no problem at all. I'll help.
Okay, you help with that.
No problem. Okay, so when an egg and a sperm come together, they help to make the very first cell that is going to be you or me or any other animal. And then that develops into a tiny, tiny little animal called an embryo. And it's really, really small. It's basically just a bunch of cells. And then as it matures and it goes on, it turns into something known as a fetus. And that fetus is going to be the thing that's born, basically.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, so which animal do you think has the longest gestation period from conception to birth of our animal? So I have a picture of a couple different ones. Looks like these are more of the desert animals. Yeah.
Is the animal that you're talking about on this picture, in this picture?
No, it may not be.
It may not be. Okay.
Okay, so an example, what do you think an animal that might have the longest gestation
I'm thinking
period?
Because they're so huge that it might be a sperm whale or some enormous whale.
Okay, maybe a whale.
And we don't have any whales on this. In fact, nobody's aquatic. These are all terrestrial animals, and these are all...
Okay, so animals, not just land animals, but could be aquatic.
Yes.
Okay, so actually, the animal that does have the longest gestation period may be on here, but you're saying that a whale, because it's one of the largest or the largest, you think would have the longest. Well, let's take a look.
Okay.
Okay, So here are some animals
Yes.
that we might be familiar with. And then the gestation period is the third column here. And it talks about how many days. And so look at the very bottom.
Yeah.
The elephant.
Oh my gosh, the elephant. And that was in that picture. Yes.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
A gestation period of 624 days.
That's
Isn't that
crazy.
amazing?
We humans complain about 9 months, and that's 2 years almost, right?
Yeah, isn't
Wow.
that crazy?
That is.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was so long for horses either. My goodness.
Well, and horses are pretty big when they're
They
born.
are.
You
They
know,
are.
they can stand up on their own.
I
and
wonder about then the for a whale. I wonder what if we can look at that later. How about that?
Okay.
Unless you have it somewhere.
I think I do have it later coming
Okay,
up.
something I noticed too is
Yeah?
that you have here, and everybody here is an animal is a mammal.
Okay.
So because the gestation it's in how long it's in the mother's body, and then it's born and it's live birth. That's the reason why its gestation relates to those animals. Like a bird that lays an egg, it's not gestation, it's called incubation.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So
there's...
I don't have any animals on here that lay eggs
No.
necessarily, so that'd be a little
No.
bit different. Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's something else that's happening right now in the spring is eggs hatching and,
Yes,
you know,
that's true.
really cool things like
Yes,
that.
so many birds are making sounds too, like calling to each other and territorial, and yeah, it's neat.
I want to point out an animal on here that I was surprised by. Do you see how a kangaroo is or has a shorter gestation period
Yes.
than a squirrel? And if we go by size, right, a kangaroo is definitely much bigger than your squirrel.
Yes.
Why? Why would a kangaroo have such a shorter gestation period, even though it's so much bigger than like a squirrel?
Well, it's a marsupial, which means it has a pouch. So it crawls as a little tiny, it almost looks like an embryo. You want to tell?
I don't know.
Oh, it crawls up from the mother, it crawls up into her pouch and then attaches onto her nipple. She has a nipple in her pouch.
Wow.
And then it just develops inside her pouch.
So other marsupials, like in our area, would be the
An opossum, same thing.
So the opossum doesn't give birth necessarily, it just
It gives
crawls.
birth
It-
to a tiny, like it's like
Okay.
premature, we would consider it premature birth.
They should put a little disclaimer
Yeah.
there then for the kangaroo or other marsupials. Did I say it right? Marsupials?
You did, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, yeah, right, exactly.
Okay,
Where is it developing?
let's take a look at the next picture. I thought this was really interesting.
So cool.
elephant, who was the longest gestation period for our animals, and where the baby elephant grows inside there and develops. And then I just compared it to a human growing inside of its mother and where it's, you know, compared to.
Then it's interesting that they're in the same way in terms of their heads are down. The heads are down because you want the baby human, you want the head to come out first rather than the feet, because then it's a breech birth and that could be a problem.
Yeah, so many interesting things
Yeah,
that we could talk about
definitely.
with this. So a baby elephant, and then you compare like baby elephant compared to the size of the elephant, right? The adult elephant, and then the baby in a human compared to the adult body. And I don't have the whole body up here, the human.
That would be an interesting ratio, adult size to infant size. And you know, when the baby's ready to be had, I wonder what percent of the elephant it is. That would, because baby's like 6-7 pounds. That's a normal average baby weight that comes out for humans. I'll bet the elephant's quite a bit larger.
Yeah, all good data to look at.
Yes.
Okay, so then this compared also the gestation periods of the animals, and that's what these yellow lines, these yellow bars are. And so we have rat was 21 days, chicken 22 days, cat, there's an average of 63 days. There's kind of a range, I suppose, of the size of the cat, you know.
Sure.
Because we were surprised to find out that like lions and tigers have shorter gestation periods similar to domesticated cats. Isn't that crazy?
Wait, what?
Yeah, well, I don't have those numbers in front, but when you look at all the other data, like
That's
tigers
amazing.
and lions also have shorter gestation periods.
Last night I was watching on PBS leopards. It was a show on leopards, and it was on Nature, and it was so cool to see such a huge cat, and I would have no guess that it had a show. And she had 2 babies, and that is crazy. I'm amazed. And you know, the other thing, one show that we had was the shape of their pupils, and you know how cats a slit of a pupil. Because it's a taller cat, they have circular pupils.
Oh.
Leopards do. And I was looking at it going, wow, yeah, that's right, it does.
Oh, I remember that show
Oh,
where
yeah.
you talked about the eyes
That's
of
right.
the animals.
Yes.
Okay, dogs, monkeys, there's a long range between
Probably there's so many different kinds of monkeys.
You're right.
Spider monkeys, big monkeys, little
Human
monkeys.
is on here also, but it's 253, oops, go back.
No problem.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's no problem.
Okay, 253 to 303 days, and so it varies. But they generally would say 9 months, which would be
Yes.
180 days,
Right.
if I did the math
Yes.
correctly. Okay, so but horse, and then here's your whale.
Oh, okay.
It is really long
It's
for
a year
the
to
gestation
almost
period.
2, depending, because we have teeny whales and big whales, so yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, but then the elephant goes all the way up to, the average they have is 624 days on this chart.
Wow.
But
That's-
here we go. Here is a table.
Oh,
And
nice.
it has black bear on there, lion. So lion 108 days, I guess that is, longer than the cat, which the cat was 63, but it's still it's shorter than I would think.
Yeah, it's shorter than you think, for sure, with such a big animal. Huh.
Okay,
That's
and on
interesting.
there is the rabbit. And if we have time, I want to talk about rabbits and their gestation period, because that's what I grew up raising, rabbits. We had a rabbit farm.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's
if we
so
have
cool.
time in the show, I'll talk a little bit about that.
Good.
Okay, on this side also, it shows us the size comparison.
Oh my gosh.
So you have one type of whale here compared to the elephant,
Yes.
okay? And even though the elephant isn't as big as the whale, right?
Yes.
It still has a longer gestation period. So the baby elephant is in the mama longer
Yes.
period of time than what the whale. But then it goes the horse, the human, different monkeys, cat, dog,
Yes.
chicken. And then there's this little speck. I know you.
Speck of a rat.
It's kind of hard. Oops.
It's okay.
That's what happens.
Yeah, so what does determine gestation period? Is that where are we gonna cover that?
I didn't get into depth on what determines the gestation period, because I would say like some animals may be born prematurely, but they can still survive, and
Right.
so there's like it would be the ideal gestation period.
Right. I was just
So-
looking at averages of creatures and seeing what. So it seems like you can make some kind of you can make a statement that says the bigger the animal in general, the longer the gestation period.
In general, yep.
In general, yeah.
Yep. And you can tell as the size gets bigger on here, and we were back to that little speck, and that was the rat.
Yes.
So the rat compared to the big whale, maybe it's a sperm whale.
It could be. Sperm whale, I think they have teeth. I don't know, it looks more baleen, but it could be. Look, I don't know. So yeah, it's possible. The sperm has the big head that goes like, kind of, what, it doesn't matter. It's
Okay.
all, yes.
There's so many cool
Right, I know,
things that
it's
we
true.
could
And we're
search
looking
and look
at
into.
silhouettes of things, so yeah.
Right. Okay. One more thing on this chart that I found really interesting was the lifespan. So that's this kind of in the middle of the slide where it says average lifespan. And so if we compare some of those numbers to what the gestation period was for, the animal to develop, is there any correlation, any connection between those
I have a
values?
question before we do. It's saying a rat is between 18 and 20 years. That I've never heard of such a thing. That doesn't seem right.
Man, if it was on the internet,
Because
it
I
must
had
be
rats
true.
as a kid, and they were like 3 years old, and they were old rats.
That's a great observation. So if we call that an outlier, that
outlier.
might not be
Perfect.
true.
See, a math expression. This is very good.
An outlier.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
good.
And then humans, in terms of like 67 years, that's, I guess it depends. In the United States, it's higher than that.
Yeah, and there's two stars next to it.
Oh, yes.
So it was
worldwide, perfect.
Worldwide
that does
average
make sense.
life expectancy
Totally.
of 2011.
Yes.
So do you think there's a connection between gestation period length and average lifespan?
It seems like there might be.
Well, humans,
except for horses.
7 years
Yeah.
average. And then cat or dog, 10 to 12 years
Right.
average.
Yes. So in general, you could probably say that as well. The longer lived the creature, yes. Right, and some creatures are born and they're pretty much ready to go. Not rabbits, but guinea pigs. The guinea pig comes out and it has all the hair and it's eating regular food.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I had guinea pigs. And I mean, rabbits are like so tiny and don't have
And their
much
eyes
hair.
are closed.
Their eyes are
too.
closed.
But like a jackrabbit on the other hand, or a hare, excuse me,
Yes.
hare on the other hand comes out with eyes open and ready to go.
Oh, cool.
Where a rabbit doesn't.
That's different. There's a difference. Neat.
Between a hare and a
Awesome.
rabbit. Okay,
Next slide.
I think so.
Okay.
Next slide would
Cool.
be good.
Let's do it.
So we were talking about pregnancy and gestation periods for farm animals. Remember in the spring, there's all these animals having babies and what's going on with that?
Yes.
Well, we have to think about when the animal is going to get born, right? And then
Yes.
go back to when we want the conception to happen.
Yes.
And so I know, like when I raised rabbits, we had a plan, like you said, not to have rabbits when it was too cold, or babies when it was
Yes.
too cold, because their
Yes.
survival rate could be much lower. But we also wanted to have them in just the amount of time for, I don't want to say market, but like when we had the county fair and
Yes.
or Easter, if people wanted to buy
Right.
rabbits for Easter.
Nice.
Okay, so let me go to the next slide.
Okay.
Okay, so here are some common farm animals you might see.
Yes.
So cattle, horse, pigs, sheep, goats. I included the dog, cat, because those are definitely on the farm.
For sure.
And then I have the rabbit on there. And my mom, as I was coming today, she's like, well, it's more like 28 to 32 days for the rabbit. So I'm not going to argue with someone who's raised rabbits for
Right. No,
many
definitely not.
years.
Oh, it's neat.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay,
Can you
we-
get it to go just by pressing? If you can, that's awesome.
I think so.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is kind of more a slide we can come back to. This was the common names of the act of giving birth. So a dog giving birth is called whelping.
Oh,
Isn't that
interesting.
interesting?
That is whelping.
And an active, when cats are given birth, it's called queening. I did not know that.
No, I had no idea. Is that what you call a female cat too? A queen versus a, I don't know what you call a male.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, calving, the act of a cow or a heifer giving birth to a calf. Lambing, well, that one makes sense. The act of sheep
Yes.
giving birth to a lamb.
Absolutely.
How about the goat one? What do you think about that?
Oh, that's cool though. I think it's haha. That's a
Just
joke.
kidding.
Yes, right.
Kidding is the
yes.
act of a goat giving
Yes.
birth. Okay, foaling.
And
or do we
as a
say
baby horse
foal?
called into a foal, so that makes sense.
Farrowing is the pigs giving birth to piglets.
I
I've
wonder
heard
where that
of that
came from.
before.
Yeah.
General term for giving birth is parturition.
Yes.
Parturition.
Parturition.
Okay.
Yes.
Having more than one offspring at birth. Multiparous.
Paris, yeah.
Multiparous.
Multiparous.
Colostrum. Okay, so early milk, and then I'm not sure on the last one.
Dystocia.
Okay, so difficulty in giving birth. So different interesting facts about giving birth
Yes.
and what it's called.
Cool.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to hit escape, try to go out
Yes.
of this.
Okay.
We're going to look
Cool.
at some of the math.
Oh, goody.
I think we have some time for it.
Oh, we have definitely.
Okay, so I need to kind of get this chart off to the side. Let's see if my computer talks to the screen behind me.
It is, I think.
It
Is
did?
Did it?
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, so some more math on here I thought would be interesting to do is to take the days and turn them into weeks.
Okay.
Okay, so human here, let's see if I can highlight that
yeah.
one. I know little strange to put human amongst all the animals, but I think it's
we're
fun.
animals,
I think
100%.
We have a lot of same. Okay, so human, 40 weeks is what one data gave us.
Yes.
And then that whole rat about the lifespan, it said 19.
Yes.
It's probably, yeah, natural lifespan.
Natural lifespan versus, maybe natural lifespan versus, there's a rat.
That's 19 years. Wow, that's just incredible. I mean, I've never met a rat that,
Okay.
but that's good.
Well, let's go back to
'Kay.
gestation period and let's look at the weeks.
'Kay.
So 3 weeks for a rat, 3 weeks for chickens to their egg to
Incubation.
incubation.
Yes.
Okay, a little
Right.
bit different.
Cool.
Rabbits 4 weeks about. Cats, dogs 9.
You know, maybe that thing with the chicken, though, is the chicken has the egg for that long, but that's not when it's born, so I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know.
Good thing to look up.
Yes.
Human 40 weeks, horse 48, whale 65, which you thought was the longest.
I did.
And then elephant 89 weeks. So 65 and 89, it seems like a lot longer.
Oh, definitely.
When you compare it that way.
Yes, absolutely.
I also put it into months. So 20 months for or almost 21 months for an elephant, 15 months for a whale, 9 plus some months for a human.
Yes.
And then the years, of course. I kept them in decimals.
Yeah. Neat. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Cool. Good table.
Okay.
And then you made a graph out of it?
and
oh, no.
yeah, well, tables are nice to organize
Yes.
information. And then depending on what kind of program you use for like a spreadsheet, you can
Right.
create graphs from it.
Yes.
And so that was just one of the graphs. The bars would show the days it would take for the gestation, and then period, and then each animal that I
Cool.
have on my table would show
Awesome.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
neat.
And
Very cool.
we could have done like a circle graph too, but a circle graph is more like a whole thing, where these are separate species that we're
Right.
comparing.
Right.
So that's why I didn't choose a circle graph.
Neat.
Okay, let's see here.
We have Fibonacci.
Yes, have you ever heard of Fibonacci?
I have. And does it have something to do with the shape of a shell or something, or the numbers of, I don't even know how a shell makes the, does it have anything to do with shells?
Ooh, I gotta
Like
spell
a
it
snail
correctly.
shell or anything.
This sounds like a shell.
Oh, well, some number of,
Fibonacci. Okay,
Cool.
so there is something to do with shells, yes.
Okay.
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 But it's a little bit different. Okay.
right, all right.
So Fibonacci was a gentleman, and he actually brought the number system that we use today. He
Yes.
brought it to the Western culture back in his day. But he also, in a book that he had written, he had a problem about rabbits. And it was like a story problem, like a math story problem. And he said if you start with one rabbit, one adult rabbit, and then you have another adult rabbit, how many would you have total?
total rabbits?
Yeah.
2.
2. Okay. So this is the beginning of the Fibonacci
Okay.
sequence.
Neat.
Sequence is just a pattern of numbers.
Yes.
Okay. And then it's not just about how many rabbits there are, but how many rabbits there could be. So on the screen, you see the Fibonacci, like a spiral.
Oh, that's
that
the spiral of
happens.
the shell. That's what I was
Yes.
thinking. Yes.
And so some nautical shells, like may have a length of 1
Yes.
on the inside, another length of 1, and then 2. And then do you see what the next
2 and
term?
3? Cool.
3.
Yes. 3.
So if we looked at, and you know what, this picture is really cool too because it showed the size of the area.
Yes, it did. That was very neat. Yeah.
How 1, 1, 2, 3, then the area got bigger.
Yes.
And then let's see if we can find the pattern in this Fibonacci sequence. So 1, 1.
And made
2,
2, and then
3.
2, 3.
And then on the screen it says 5. Where do you think 5 came from?
From the 2 plus the 3?
From the 2 plus 3 gave us 5.
Yes. Yes.
And then also
8.
8 was next. And so where does 8 come from?
3 plus 5.
3 plus 5 gave us 8. Cool.
Yes, yes.
All right, so some mental math.
13.
13, because that would be 5 plus 8. And then
21.
21. And then we would keep going. And I'm going to put dot, dot, dot
Yeah.
to say that it would keep going forever. And it kind of cut off my screen. But so Fibonacci, when he was known, or why he was known for this sequence, this pattern of numbers, is because of this rabbit story problem that he had tried. And so I have a picture of it also. Let's see if I can get to that. Back on my slideshow.
Yay.
Let's go down. I think I have one more slide. There we go.
Oh, yay. Here's rabbits.
So it represented the Fibonacci sequence with this, where we had
Cool.
1, 1, and then the 1 and 1 had a baby, and then the 2 adults could have another baby. And so it was just really neat.
Oh, that's neat. So it's 1 and 1, and then it's 2. Wait, 1
Well,
and 1. That's 2, like them. And
Yeah.
then goes 3 because now we've added.
You could talk about
2.
the baby bunnies. The baby bunnies are with the carrot, you know, and so the adult bunnies or the mature bunnies
Oh,
were
nice.
able to have the babies. And so I was
Cool.
also thinking, if we had time, we could talk about mice and how they populate
my
and grow
goodness.
so quickly. Like they say, if you find one mouse in your house, there's probably
A lot more.
a lot more
Yes.
because of how quickly they repopulate.
Yes, which is very beneficial to everybody who eats them, which is all the predators. The
Yay,
predators
predators.
are very, very happy about that, and they wouldn't be around without it.
I
So,
know
yeah.
we had pet mice and a pair.
Oh my
and
gosh.
within a year there was we had 100 or so mice in our little
That's crazy.
in our
Then
aquarium.
you needed to get a snake.
Well, we had Kat who had kittens, and she got the lid off.
Okay, well, there,
Yeah.
that took care of that. It's grizzly, but it's real
Yeah.
life. It's like the
Yeah.
food chain. So
Well,
herbivores to
if we
carnivores.
go back a few here, you're gonna
Yes.
see the picture. Let's see, back. Let's see here. Right here. I think this is a good one for us to end on.
Yes.
Just to remind ourselves that how long it might take for an animal to grow inside of its mother,
Yes.
the gestation period, might depend on the size
Yes.
of the animal and
And
how
the
big
age
or
maybe as
small.
well. It could. I mean, something related to that.
Yes, and we definitely need to
perfectly.
look up rats, how long rats might live,
Yeah.
their lifespan.
Some very special rats, maybe Norway rats or something,
Yeah.
the big ones.
Yeah.
Quite possibly. Cool.
Well, you guys have a good rest of the day.
Yeah.
Next week, there is no homework hotline.
That's right. Yeah.
So some of you will be enjoying spring break.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Yay.
Bye.
Good to see you guys. Yay.